Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spoonful podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mario Pacuadillo, and joining me today, as always, something I forgot about him, the Prince of Kind of Funny Prom, whose shirt I'm wearing today. Totally forgot about that little factoid. Mr. Emmett Watkins Jr. He's royalty.
I am royalty, and by royal decree, I will say anyone who's near a Little Caesars, try the pineapple Pepsi. It's all right. It tastes pretty good.
They have pineapple Pepsi.
Pineapple Pepsi. Yes, it's a Little Caesars exclusive. I
I'm
was
gonna try
ordering
that.
dinner, saw it on there, and I was like, you know what? Let's see about it. And it's not overwhelmingly pineapple. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I just finished
I
it.
quit
I poured it
soda,
in a
but
cup. The
I'm.
bottle was
You
empty.
know what? I'll come back to my addiction for a little pineapple Pepsi. That sounds interesting.
It is not worth relapsing for. I'll say that. But if you already look, so almost everything is fine in moderation. So if you just drink
True.
soda sometimes,
Yeah.
go ahead and try it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. But I was saying right before the show, we're both representing the past with our shirts. You're representing Kind of Funny Prom. I'm representing the Tequila Latin Club that I was in for the last 2 years of high school.
Nice. That's like when Jimena one day we were going through. I think her what's it called? The book at the end.
Yearbook.
Yearbook. I was literally
Bingo.
gonna say the book of the end of the year. That's where I'm at right now. That's
God
where I'm
bless.
at. We were going through her yearbook, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was a part of the Muslim club," and I'm like, "What?"
What?
She's not
There's
Muslim, and she was like, she was high ranking in the club too. She was like a treasurer. And I'm like, how the fuck? Wait a damn minute. What is
They
going
had-
on in your school, man?
You know what? That's more legitimate than the sci-fi club that I was a part of, which was
Fuck
literally
yeah.
just us pulling the CRTs out and playing Halo split screen.
Oh, amazing. That's incredible.
That's all it was. But good God, the Muslim club. They
Shout
they don't
out.
did she grow up in Florida? Is that like a southern thing?
Maybe.
Okay.
My understanding of it is one of her friends who was Muslim needed to or wanted to like be the president of a club because it looked really good, and
Mm.
he needed a certain amount of members. So he was like, "Hey, can you be on my club?" And she's like, and she, being the very smart businesswoman she is, she said, "Sure, but you got to make me a treasurer so it looks good on my resume." And I'm like, "Look at you guys.
Mm.
Look at that. Beautiful."
Hustling. I just did
Absolutely.
it because I wanted to hang out with my friends.
Listen, that's better. That's better. We didn't have clubs in Venezuela. I learned about the existence of school clubs through like media, and I'm like, what the fuck is what are all these Americans doing?
Yeah. Y'all have a chess club?
I just played chess. I guess the closest thing we had to clubs is we were like a very musically oriented school. The school that I went to, like it's like a school that's from kindergarten all the way to your senior year of high school. It's the same school. I went to that school for 11 years.
Ooh. I'm a little jealous of that. That actually sounds really cool.
It's an interesting experience. Yeah, like when you like your classmates are the same people for 11 straight years, it's kind of interesting. Like you go through ebbs and flows of like it's interesting being like, "Oh yeah, 5 years ago that person over there was my best friend and now I don't even talk to them."
That's literally like my little brother almost had that exact same experience because, I moved here where we live now, closer to Atlanta. We moved here when I was moving to 8th grade. So I had my 8th grade and all of high school here, and I made some friends and whatnot. But my little brother, he moved here when he was in like 3rd grade. So his whole life effectively all right here. So all his friends he's played football with the same kids. He's at college with some of these kids playing football now.
That's cool.
Like
That's awesome.
I'm very happy for him to, have that experience. And I'm also like, yo, when this kid's time for me, I'm trying to lock myself down before we pop one out. I want them to have that experience.
Smart.
That'd be really cool.
I'll give you my personal experience as a bit of advice. Moving out of a country when you're 17 years old, long term kind of, fucks up your mental health a decent amount.
Because that's a big time frame to
Yeah.
have that much change.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one. It's a fun one.
Understandable. Well, you turned out all right, so I'm gonna do it anyway. No,
I'm okay. Yeah, exactly. Have you been, man? It's been a bit. We theoretically, technically, I guess, missed a week, but it's a Spoonful podcast. We don't abide by any rules.
Yeah, it's our spoon and we're full of it.
We're
So
full of it, man. Absolutely.
but yeah, no, I've been fine. Like I think I said something about it on the last episode. I have been locked in. I have not been doing. I think I went out once, other than work, one time to like go hit up some friends for visiting their apartment, doing some stuff. But other than that, I've been locked in. I've been playing a whole lot of video games. I've just been taking time to myself because it's been a lot of, the last couple months have been a lot of ripping and running, been a lot of, hey, let's go do this, hey, let's go do that, hey, I'm coming over, hey, I'm doing this.
Hanging out with
Girlfriend's been
Beyonce
in year, yeah, hanging out with Beyonce, exactly.
happens.
I haven't had a lot of weekends to just sit here and not do anything. And Gabby's in Europe right now. So ever since the first, I've been
now it's
chilling.
gamer time, man.
Oh, dude, I am. There's a good chance that I beat 3 video games before she gets back here. I've
Sick.
already beaten 2. I might make it 3.
Sick. Hell yeah.
Hmm.
Sick,
Yeah, we'll
dude.
see how tomorrow
There were
goes. But oh
last
my
year,
god,
well, the best year of my gaming life, as it's been well documented. There were two separate days last year where I beat 2 video games in that same day. And
wow.
I was like, wow, fucking look at this guy over here. Pro
I mean,
gamer.
technically, I did do that. Technically, we'll talk about it in a little bit because I've been playing a lot of stuff that's been coming out recently. But yeah, I did do that technically. I beat one game one night, and then the next game I beat before the 24 hours hit. So technically, one day.
Nice. Look at you.
Yeah,
Look at you. What a
good
pro
stuff. Good
gamer
stuff.
over here.
You know what it is.
Speaking of pro
I don't know what
gamer,
that was.
I've been very busy as well. School has been in full steam, right? Like it's
Mm,
been to
yeah.
a point where my video game time is so very limited. Jimena and we got Baldur's Gate 3 because we were like we're gonna play through it, our own D&D campaign. Let's go. We created our characters, which if you're doing it right, it's gonna take you like an hour and a
Half an
half,
hour
and it
or an
did.
hour and a half. Yes.
Oh no, we were there for a while, man. And I don't know if
Nice.
you've played Baldur's Gate, but after you create your character, the game's like, now create your guardian. And it's like, oh boy, here we go. Here we
I'm
go.
I'm actually unfamiliar. Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate's one of those games where everyone's talking about it. Don't know if I'm gonna love it, so I haven't touched it.
We played 20 minutes of the intro. We were like, okay, this is cool because split screen, you can do split screen co op, which is fucking great. And we haven't been able to touch it ever since. And I changed my mind on my character. So next time we play, I'm going to restart our campaign because I want to be a wizard now.
Oh my god, you gotta love decisions. That's why I don't play anything with choices. Just show me the thing that
Yeah.
you made for me, and I'll just consume it.
Yeah. Basically, a majority of my most recent video game time was spent creating characters on 2 different very large RPGs. One of which was being Baldur's Gate, and the other one, Starfield. I've been
Ooh.
playing a tiny little bit of Starfield.
Hmm. So what's the verdict on it so far?
It's a little game, a little indie game. No, I am very into it right now. But I'll say, if you recall our previous conversations, I went into this game kind of like knowing what was coming, right? Like I kind of like set my expectations properly, and B, I'm coming into this game with the mindset of this game is a big game and it's going to be the game I play for a while because I just don't have time to play a lot of games, right? Like Lies of P is
Understandable.
installed and I want to play Lies of P so fucking bad.
Wait, is Liza P out?
It's out in 2 days.
Okay, holy shit.
I
Okay,
want to play
all right.
Lies of P so fucking bad, and I'm going to try so hard. But as I'm telling you, I have 3 tests coming up next week.
God bless you.
So, Starfield right now is my long haul game. It's the game where I know that I can sit down and play 30 minutes, play an hour, and be like, I got a fucking whole universe ahead of me, man. I'm going to take my sweet time with Starfield. That's been the game for me so far. I think I picked it well. I've also I feel like the most PC gamer I've ever felt. I'm installing mods in this game.
Oh hell yeah,
I'm
that's how
doing
you do it.
the whole thing. I just installed a mod that makes the UI better. because the UI fucking sucks. Like the inventory UI, it's so bad.
Welcome
And
to Bethesda games.
oh yeah, it's worse than ever, dude. Like it's so obtuse. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Well, it seems like there's just more to keep track of than ever before
There's
now. So it's like,
exactly. And the problem
mhm.
is there's way more to keep track of, and it's so not intuitive to keep track of all that. Like you have like there's like 300 fucking different types of ammo, and I'm exaggerating, but there's a lot of different types of ammunition, and different guns fit different kinds of ammunition. And it's not as simple as looking at the gun and being like, oh, it takes this ammunition, like Apex Legends, right? Like in Apex Legends,
Mhm.
you kind of
Light,
get it.
heavy, sniper, that type of thing.
That. Right now, you have to like click into it. It's a mess. Star UI, one of the actually the most popular Starfield mod, fixes that for you. It makes it so much easier. Mods are great. Mods are cool. What I've played so far of Starfield, and it's not very far at all. I've mostly been dicking around in there. I'm super digging. It's scratching the like Skyrim itch more than like the Fallout itch for me.
Oh.
Like starting to play this game, it feels like it felt when I was playing Skyrim, and not in it. And it's hard to describe
Mm.
it, but like Fallout, I enjoy and I liked Fallout 4, but it wasn't the same. Like something about maybe it's the setting. It doesn't create the same sense of wonder for me, right? Like it's like
Mm.
Fallout's fun and all that. Like, oh yeah, cool characters, but it's not that like, wow, I'm in a different universe sort of feeling. I'm in a different world, right? And Skyrim
Makes sense.
fantasy, even though I'm not usually the biggest fantasy guy, games like Skyrim and potentially Baldur's Gate sometimes give me that itch. And then this is in space, right? And I'm going into it fully role playing. I created a character. I thought of the name long and hard, and my character's name is Laz Flyman, which I think is a pretty good one.
That's like Baz Luhrmann
Why
reversed or
not? I
something.
was like, you know what, man? That
Director of
name fits this
Elvis.
guy. I just made a dude that looked kind of cool. He's got this cool little like dark green hair. I'm like, this guy, I like that guy.
Can't be dark blue. It's an
He's a
Xbox game.
space trucker, dude. Like, come on. How fucking
Really?
cool is that?
I respect that. I respect that.
Like,
What
I
is that? Ooh, there's this one game. The voice of Duke Nukem voiced the main character of it. It's a space trucker game. Rochard on PlayStation 3. That's what this is. Continue.
I'm literally like going through the traits and I'm like bouncing ideas off of Jimena, and I'm like, bounty hunter is obviously like the coolest thing, right? And you think of space and you think bounty hunters, kind of a
Oh
classic
yeah.
bit. What was the other one that I was thinking? There was another like very cool like, oh, like rogue sort of pilot guy. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then there was long hauler, which is essentially you're a space trucker. And I was like, for some reason, I just really want to be a fucking space trucker. And I'm living
Hmm.
out my space trucking fantasies.
That is pretty impressive.
But so far I like
Real
it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Would you say you're like what, just 5 or so hours
I'm
in, or
about
like 10
five
or
or
so?
6 hours into it. Yeah, I finished the like first main mission, like, but it's really the mission that sets you off to the beginning of the. What I appreciate about this game, I think pacing wise, this very first mission at least is very smart. On the very first like mission after you join Constellation and all that, they're like, "Oh, we have to go to this annoying old place nobody likes anymore, the Soul System," and you just go to the Milky Way galaxy, right? So the very first like place that you can go. I mean, you can go anywhere, right? But the very first official place to go visit is what you're familiar with, and there's some. It's cool, right? Because you're like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I wonder what the Earth looks like," right? And the Earth doesn't look like what the Earth looks like now. There's a whole reason why humanity left. And then you're like, I wonder what they do in Mars. And I wonder what happens in Venus. And I wonder what happens if I go to the moon. Is Neil Armstrong's flag still there? It is. Spoilers.
Wow. They
So
did not colonize the moon, huh?
most of what, well, actually, they did a little bit, a tiny little bit. A tiny little
Okay.
bit. So that's what I've been doing the most of, right? I was fucking around in New Atlantis, doing like a few quests here and there, right? Kind of getting a feel for everything, messing around with my display settings and all that. Then I went to the Sol System, dicked around on planet Earth a little bit, and there's not a lot to do in planet Earth. Scandalous.
Oh boy. Just like the
And
real world in like 80 years.
well, it's essentially one giant desert, and it's like a big old bummer.
So it's
And
Mad
there's
Max,
nothing
but
to do. Like I was like, because if you look up at the planet map, I guess you can land anywhere, like any single spot in any single map. So I'm like, okay, let me land in New York and see if there's like a little thing of like, oh, that used to be the Statue of Liberty. There's nothing anywhere in the planet. I'm like,
um,
damn, that's kind of okay.
ooh.
Okay.
All right, that's a little depressing.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, it's just desert. And apparently there was
That's
a thing where they were talking about the fact that they considered for a little bit making Earth Fallout, like the Fallout Earth.
yeah.
I'm like, that would have been fucking cool, but I understand why they didn't do that because then you would have been in Earth for 100 hours.
That's true. But also, well, they could have done like just have some Easter eggs, like do like a football. God, what's the name of that
And they
story?
might.
Football 2070-99. It was basically like the short story about satellites after the world's gone and they're observing Earth after everyone's like millions of years in the future and everything's done and New York is flooded. So like it's a whole thing. They could have had cool Easter eggs like that.
And they
But
might, dude, because again, the whole planet is technically explorable. Like you can land anywhere on the planet, even the water. There's no water; it's just all fucking desert-like, right? So there's no
oh
ocean,
no.
but there might be an Easter egg. I honestly haven't seen a lot of stuff, and we'll talk about that later on in the show of why I haven't been seeing a lot of stuff. But
Mm. Hmm.
it'd be there. Could potentially be
Ah.
an Easter egg somewhere on Earth. There's an Easter egg on the moon.
Yeah, true. Hmm. I'll say this when it comes to Starfield because I don't know if negative is the word I should use, but I've been not as excited about it the closer that it has gotten. And now that it's dropped, I still haven't touched it yet myself because I look at it and I think, okay, I am not. I don't think the story of Starfield is going to blow me away. I don't think
Mm.
any specific character is going to blow me away. I don't think I'm going to be left with a narrative that's going to stick with me for eons and eons. But this conversation made me think and made me realize I played Skyrim for like 150 hours. I couldn't tell you a single name of a single character. I
Oh, me
couldn't tell
neither.
you a single plot point.
Not
Couldn't
at
tell you
all.
any of that. But man, did I love that time. And I loved it because it's not, oh, I am the head of the Thieves Guild. It's, oh, I'm a wizard. My brain isn't thinking about the proper nouns, it's thinking about the simple nouns that I got to live out and got to be. So maybe doing that with a space context instead of a fantasy context,
Yeah.
because I'm like you, I don't care about fantasy. That does sound all right. So
And that
maybe I should get on that.
that's the thing that I guess I'm glad I thought ahead of, like, because when we saw the Starfield Direct, like the gaming industry as a whole was like, this game is gonna be groundbreaking, the most incredible game. And me, like myself included, right? It looked like it was gonna be the greatest thing ever, right? It looked very, very, very incredible. As we got closer to it, I settled down my expectations more. And what I wanted, what I was yearning for, was a Bethesda game. And that's the thing.
Mm,
Like, Bethesda games used to be that. They used to be games of, like, how is this possible? I've never seen this in a video game. They used to be very, very, very groundbreaking. And Starfield somehow definitely has some groundbreaking stuff, right? And the sheer scope of Starfield is groundbreaking in its own way. But they're they still have that Bethesda vibe, that Bethesda jank that is charming and
mm,
bad in its own right. So of course it's
yeah.
not gonna get 10 out of 10 reviews because it's a Bethesda game, right? But if you're looking for a Bethesda game and the Bethesda game experience, which can be a ton of fun if you're just role playing and like it rarely do I play a role playing game where it genuinely feels like I'm role playing, but Bethesda games do a very good job of that. And that's what I was looking
Mm.
for. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to play this game for a long time. I'm just going to get lost in it. I'm just going to dick around. I'm not, I don't, maybe the story's cool. It might be super cool, right? Like, great if it is, sick if it is. But right now, I'm just the little time I have to play video games. I'm just going to
Hmm.
mess around in space. And that is everything I want right now. And that's why I think I'm so high on it.
Okay. That makes sense. Maybe I'll I mean, I've had it installed on both PC and Xbox for a long time, so perhaps I'll get on it. Maybe I'll pull it up on PC, see if it runs at 60 frames since consoles don't. But you're making it sound a little bit more appealing. You're putting it in the right mind frame for me because I as someone who played a lot of Fallout 4 and likes Fallout 4 quite a bit, I realize at a certain point I don't care much about the story and characters. I'm in it to just be a cool shooty guy in the post-apocalypse and to get my loot and to do all the stuff. I think if I'm leveling down my expectations into that range, like Skyrim did also, then yeah, maybe
Yeah,
I'm down for it. So hey, maybe next episode I got 400 hours in
let's
Starfield.
go.
We'll see.
This man had a busy 2 weeks.
Good lord, nah. I will say I've had a busy 2 weeks. I'm not gonna say I've only been playing 3 games, but 3 games as far as stuff that came out this year are
Okay.
the main things I've had my hands in. Not gonna go on too much about them. The first one I'll talk about, I'll go ahead and just address the background here. On Guard, little indie game that came out a couple weeks ago. Uh, Basically, the way I've been describing it, what if Insomniac made a Princess Bride game right after watching Road to El Dorado? That is what this game is, and
Okay.
it is great. So basically it's a fencing game, third person behind the shoulder, maybe not God of War zoomed in, but like, maybe a little bit further back. And the whole thing is either parrying the enemy fencers or dodging their really strong attack when they fence. And you're basically just doing that and getting your hits in when you can. Sometimes they'll be invulnerable to hits until you get down their stagger meter. And the stagger meter is what makes this game really good because anyone can make a combat game with parries and dodges, and it's nice, good slow motion dodges and slow motion parries. It's really good, really
It's the
satisfying.
stagger, man. It's the Sekiro fucking goodness right there.
See, it reminds me of like Sekiro Light in some ways.
Hmm.
What makes this interesting? I mean, you are a little bit of a scoundrel. You're a little bit of a scallywag, so you play dirty. So every time you're in a fight, you look around the environment. You're like, "Hey, I can pick up this bucket, throw it on their head, and just combo them while they're occupied with this bucket on their head."
Sick.
Or too many enemies, pick up a bucket. One's down. One's trying to get the bucket off their head. Now I'm gonna kill the other guys on the other side. There's cannons, there's gunpowder around. You pick up a lantern, throw it at the cannon, it fires. The cannonball hits one guy on the far side, everyone else who's near the cannon gets blown back. You have a kick as well. Kick people off of ledges, kick people into rivers, kick people down the stairs. They fall down and it loses some more of their stagger meter. All these environmental opportunities to like lower their stagger, and once that stagger meter is completely empty, they're just open for a bunch of hits. Get your
That's cool.
combos in, and it's very cartoonish. There's
Is this like a
my
like a
yeah,
single player, like you're going through a story? Is it like an online game? Like,
single player only. It is 4 chapters in the main story. I
mm,
beat it in 4 hours, which is why I have this
that's
game
cool.
completed. So it's very refreshing that way. I love a good, nice, reasonably
Oh my god, it's
length game.
incredible.
Um, exactly. And it does have an arena mode as well. There's several arenas you can play through as well if you want to squeeze out a little bit more value. But yeah, single player only, and it's just about the fun of that combat system. It's my favorite thing you can do in the game. If there's like a kettle of food cooking on a fire, you can throw that lantern on any fire to make it blow up a little bit more. But if that kettle's cooking, you blow it on, the kettle goes flying in the air, and then like a minute or two later, in the middle of the fight, it will just land on someone Tom and Jerry style and kill them
Ah,
in one hit.
amazing. Love that.
It is incredible. So it's a lot of like cartoony fun that way. It's very campy. It's very silly. A little bit of platforming. There's some pole swinging, some bounce pads. Pretty simple platforming slash parkoury stuff. But it's very fun, very cute, very campy story, very campy characters. But they're all in on a joke. It's very charming, and yeah, one of my favorite games I played this year. It's very, very good.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It is cool. The next game is even cooler though. Which is Turbo Overkill. Um, I don't know if you've
Sick
heard of this game
fucking
at
name,
all.
man. Turbo Overkill. I'm in.
Oh, let me tell you, this is a first person shooter, indie first person shooter from I think Trigger Happy Interactive. I want to say is the name of these guys, but I might be wrong. I'm gonna look it up because I have a Steam tab open. But Tober Overkill is basically the most insane first-person shooter I've ever played, may ever play. If you'd like something like Doom Eternal, this is absolutely that style of shooter. You walk at a million miles an hour. You're not reloading anything. Every gun has an alternate fire, and you get the resources you need back from the enemies. It's really good in that way. What makes this game so insane is that it just gets progressively crazier and crazier as you go. You have a chainsaw leg at the beginning of the game because you're half android.
Sick.
So you just do slides through enemies and just hack them up with the chainsaw. Later on, you can unlock a second chainsaw leg as one of your upgrades. And then near the end of the game, because there's a part in the game where like you effectively die and get reborn, and then all of the remaining meat parts of you get removed, and now you're just a complete cyborg. Then you have chainsaw arms.
Nice.
So at a certain point, your whole body's chainsaw.
You're just a
And you're just
chainsaw.
going ham.
Nice.
Exactly. It's incredible. But then all the weapons are good too. There's like a really powerful sniper rifle that's also like they call it the telefragger because you can use it to zoom in on someone from far away and teleport into their body and make them explode. So it's a really good traversal tool. A really good shotgun with like some EMP blast and one that has like a grenade launcher attached to it. Just so many good weapons. It's just very satisfying. And then when you get to the end of this game, the bosses, there's one level that is the same boss fight 3 different times, and each time has 5 faces.
Oh my God.
But that
Jesus.
sounds awful. It is the most badass thing in the world.
That's awesome.
It is fun because he changes form so drastically each time. It is very fun. And there's vehicle missions, there's mech battles, there's everything you could dream of from a game like this, and so many over the top weapons. You get an orbital laser, like from Gears of War, you get a Hammer of Dawn equivalent. It is so good. It gets really challenging at the end, but it is worth seeing through. Played the whole thing on Steam Deck as well. If you got a Steam Deck, this is the one for you. I can't wait for this thing to hit consoles because I think a lot of people, I'm surprised this isn't getting coverage from like your IGNs and GameSpots of the world. The only people really talking about this are like the YouTubers who play a lot of shooters and whatnot.
Of course.
Yeah, that's how I found out about it. So yeah, I think when this hits consoles, it'll get critical mass, but it's really good.
Yeah.
One of my favorites of the year.
It when you compared it to Doom Eternal, what it made me think about is the fact that you played it on Steam Deck. Because I played Doom Eternal on PC. How the hell do people play Doom Eternal on console? Like that game is so hard, and with the level of, I know you did, with the level of control that mouse and keyboard gives you, at some point I was like, I have no idea how you can do this on a controller because it's so hard.
It's discipline, man. It's discipline. It's similar to Turbo Overkill, which Turbo Overkill isn't as good at this as Doom Eternal is. But Doom Eternal, if you're struggling, you have the resources to get back in there. Either get health from the arena or, hey, I need some armor. Let me get the flame belch out, get some armor from enemies. You have enough enemies to get what you need.
That game
It is.
So good.
God, I feel so bad for folks who can't see why it's so good.
Once it clicks for you, like once you realize like the shooting is almost secondary. This game is a resource management game. Just a really, 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 really fast resource manager game.
Yes!
Oh my God, it sings. It's so good.
Oh,
it's so fucking good.
I need to get back in there and play DLC.
Dude, oh my God, I need to reinstall it and play a little bit. The other thing it reminds me of, because you mentioned it's a shooter that doesn't get a lot of attention, and this shooter I found out about not that long ago, and at least when I was online, right? We'll talk about that. I didn't see many people talk about this game either. Have you heard about the game BattleBit?
Yes, BattleBit remastered.
BattleBit remastered. Good. Awesome. I'm glad that it's been blowing up because it's been a thing for a long time and not a lot of people were talking about it. For those of you who don't know, it's essentially classic Battlefield, right? In the sense that it's like a massive online shooting battle with vehicles, and nearly every single structure is destructible. Like it's not just like Battlefield where, you can take down this big building. It's like every building basically is destructible. And the whole thing is that it's a very, very small team. I think it's like 2 or 3 people that work on the game. And it's all like Roblox graphics.
Yeah. But
But
it's robots graphics, but like Battlefield lighting.
Battlefield lighting, Battlefield guns, Battlefield reticles, and it runs like buttery smooth. And it's one of the first times that I'm like, dude, I fucking wish I had the time to play that game right now because it looks so good. It
Oh
looks
yeah.
so freaking good, man.
I'm right there with you. And I'm kind of hoping I'm crossing my fingers for controller support because it is Steam Deck playable. I think it's rated right now.
Mm,
It says partial controller support, so maybe I'll give it a shot, but I just don't have the time to devote to a multiplayer game that doesn't end. But God, it looks really
it
incredible. It
looks
looks really good. And it's like what,
incredible.
128 players online, something crazy like
Yeah,
that?
it's like gigantic battles. So essentially,
254 players, excuse me.
254. Dude, essentially, they did the thing of the meme of like, I want games that look worse made by fewer people that get paid more money. That is the game. Like, they said,
Hmm.
we don't care what it looks like because the game is going to be awesome. And it's going to be perfect, but it's just going to not look very pretty. But everything I've seen about it looks incredible. And I just wanted to shout it out.
Indeed. Gameplay first. Shout out to BattleBit. But yeah, a lot of good shooters coming out. A lot of good shooters. And the last shooter I've
Yeah, what's
played
your last
is
shooter?
it's very look, I just got to the halfway point in it, so I don't have a million things to say. I finally got around to the Dead Space remake.
Oh,
And the thing about it is I really don't have that much to say because hey, guess what? This game that was really good a decade ago,
it's
it's
really
still
good.
really good.
Fair.
Exactly. It's almost the exact same game as it was. Yes, it's prettier. Yes, they have slightly different things. The whole ship is one continuous place now. It's not levels that are loading each time. But it just feels so in line with that original game that it doesn't even feel like there's much new to say about it. It feels like
Yeah.
anything you could have said about it back then, you could say about this one right now. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's like comfort food. It's really nice
Mhm.
playing a game because I miss when I was on, PS3 generation when I was 13, 14, whatever, where I could just pick up a game, usually a PlayStation Plus game because I wasn't buying games every month, and just know I could beat it within a few days.
Totally.
And it's just this, what, 8 or 10 or 12, whatever hour thing. I'll get to the end and I can look back on it fondly if it is a good game or be done with it if it's not. And Dead Space is bringing me back to that mindset. The fact that I got, to the 6th chapter and I know for a fact that there's not going to be some surprise. Oh, sorry, it's a 50-hour RPG now. No, it's not. That's not going to happen. So it's very good. It's weird to call this horrific shooter with horrible gore effects and all this stuff. Weird to call that comfort food, but it absolutely is comfort food right now. So,
Lovely.
yeah.
Yeah, the Dead Space
Just your
remake,
props.
I never got around to it, and I'm sad about it. I always wanted to, but just can't buy a $70 game right now, and I barely have time to play
Mhm.
games, so it's like I've really got to pick my battles.
I hear you.
But it definitely is in that range of like kind of diminishing returns when it comes to remakes, where like something like Final Fantasy VII remake, like of course the game is completely
Yes.
different, right? And it totally revitalized it. And Resident Evil 2 remake is like, oh my goodness, this is the way to play the game. The further you get into remakes is more like, well, this is really good if you were a big fan of the original and you kind of just want to experience it again, but a little nicer. Or if you never played the original, here you go.
Mhm.
Here's the definitive version of it. But it definitely isn't earth shattering, right? Like Nintendo just announced Thousand Year Door remake, right? And it's a tiny little bit prettier. And it's essentially on the Switch because Nintendo doesn't let you buy old games, doesn't let you play the old games like they used to, and that sucks. And they want to make more money out of you, and that sucks. But for huge fans of the original, like myself, I don't know if I'll be able to buy it. It's like, hey, you get to play it again, and it looks a little prettier. Or for the large number of people who own a Switch who never got to play the original Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which is the best Paper Mario, here it is.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm
So
right
it
there
makes
with you.
sense, and I'm just sad that I can't play all these good games that are coming out.
Mhm. I'll be honest. The only reason I'm able to play any of these games because I'm looking at gameplay all the time. Second that thing hits under like 30, gets around that
Beautiful.
$20 area,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, all right, I'll swoop in.
beautiful.
I
Hell
think I
yeah.
got Dead Space for like 26, so I'm happy with
I
it.
don't even have PlayStation Plus anymore.
Oh, you know what? That's fair because of the price hike. that
Here,
price hike is going to make it way unreasonable for
here's the
most
thing
people.
for me, man. Like I was paying for the yearly back when it was 120, right? And
Mm-hmm.
money's tighter now because I work less, so I just got to pick my battles. So I canceled the automatic renewal, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna save up and I'm gonna get it when I can, right? And then they
Yeah.
announced the price hike, and I was like, okay. Realistically, I have a ton of games installed on my PS5 right now that are I have installed through PlayStation Plus, right? But once again, I don't have a lot of time to play games. And even if I did, I thought to myself, realistically, if I want to play, say, Life is Strange True Colors, right? Which is it's installed on my PlayStation with PlayStation Plus. I'm like, does it make more sense for me to pay what $160 a year? I think is the
To
extra
have
tier. That's
access to it.
insane. Do I pay $160 now, or do I wait until I want to play that game, buy a month of PlayStation Plus, play it, and be done with it?
That the latter is absolutely the way to go.
So I'm like, I'm not paying for the yearly, and when I really want to play one of those games, I'll buy a month of it and make sure I beat it in a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right there with you. The only reason I'm not doing that exact same thing is because I took advantage of the exploit when it was the same price as PlayStation Now.
Which is
So
great. That's sick.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah, I don't have to pay those new prices until what 2025. So
Sweet.
hallelujah for that. But otherwise, yeah, nah, I'm absolutely doing that. I might do that for Game Pass because I think that expires in like November or
Game
something. So
Pass
we'll
is,
see.
is the only one that I'm like currently paying for because I don't have Game Pass Ultimate. I used to because I was like I can play Persona 5 Royal on my Steam Deck, right? With through cloud, whatever. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I never did it. And I paid for it for months. And I was like, let me just stop lying to myself. Just do the PC Game Pass, which is $10. And when I want to play
Bingo.
Persona, I'll play Persona on my PC and I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like I think I use Game Pass more. And that's why, and it's
Yeah.
also cheaper, right? It's $10 a month and I'm like playing Starfield, right? I'm like, do I play a little bit of Game Pass games once a month? So far, yes. And Lies of P, and so I like Game
Mm-hmm.
Pass is easier to be justified if PlayStation Plus, if Spider-Man 2 was coming to
What's
PlayStation
coming
Plus,
day one?
I would pay for the
Yes.
yearly. I would pay for 10 years of the yearly if that is what the deal was. But I have to pay for Spider-Man 2. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Absolutely
no,
the point.
I'm not doing that at all.
Mm-hmm. I feel you that. You hear that, Sony? People might actually, if you put games on PlayStation Plus that people care about, then maybe they'll pay for it. But nah. Hey, at least you know Halo isn't getting deleted from Game Pass. Gears is gonna stay there.
Totally.
Everything,
I
like all
have
the
a
stuff
big
that they
old
make.
back catalog, right? So
Bingo, bango. So
shout out to
yeah,
Game Pass.
indeed, indeed. But speaking of pass, you've been taking a pass on certain things in your life, haven't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, man. Good one. That's a good one. I was thinking of one. I
Yeah.
think you could see the wheels turning on it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
not the first time we have this conversation, right? On the show or privately, but I kind of felt like giving an update because I've been realizing some like semi significant things, at least for me, that I've been like, oh damn. Since I'm pretty sure that was since last episode, I officially tweeted out that hey, I'm no longer on Twitter, right? And I was like, I'm just not on Twitter anymore. The tweet was something along the lines of like, because it was about 2 months after
Mm-hmm.
or after a month and a half, I don't remember. It was a certain amount of time after I originally tweeted. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be taking a break. I'll be back later. And I had two tweets after that, which were retweets to try to win an AMD GPU, that Starfield GPU, because it looks sick.
I feel that.
And I didn't
Hell
win
yeah.
it. I didn't win it. I'm sad about that.
Hell
Um,
no.
and by the way, if there's any giveaways about cool stuff and what you got to do is retweet, I will log into my Twitter and retweet it. You best be sure about that.
Oh, I did that yesterday. I'm right there with you.
I will do that. I don't care about if it's for free stuff. I'll log right back in. But I
Bingo.
kind of went back and I was like, hey, the little break was over a month, and I kind of realized that I am very happy with it right now with not being on social media, and that I just made the decision to make my not being on social media permanent for the time being. Who knows, right? Like it's not like I'm burning my phone or in going off the grid or anything like that. But I'm just not on social media, and I legitimately am not. And I told people to reach out to me through there. I stayed logged in for about a week. I was like, hey, if I know you, if we're cool, we'll, send me information. We'll stay in touch, Discord, all that, right? Like, because I do have a lot of people that I met through social media, like you, and I like to keep in touch with, right? So, but the thing that I've been realizing recently more than anything is I'm starting to notice that I am out of the loop. And that's
Mm.
so very, very, very interesting because the thing that scared me the most when the thing that kept me from leaving social media when I really kind of wanted to for a long time was like, I'm going to be out of the loop, right? I'm not going to know what's going on. I'm not going to find out about things at the time that I want to find out about them. I'm just going to be out, right? And I was like hesitant to do it. So I talked on the show, I have like Google News on my phone when I scroll through it, and it's not perfect, right? There's a bunch of bullshit, shitty
Yeah.
articles, but essentially, a lot of stuff that I would want to see, I can see, and I'm reading more. And a good side effect of it is that it has me engaging with content that I enjoy again. Where like I've talked on the show how I basically haven't watched Kind of Funny Games Daily in a long time. Now I try to watch
Mhm.
it every day because
Oh
I
yeah,
find out about stuff through that. I find out
that's
about the
fair.
news through that, right? And it's been fun, but it's happened already multiple times. Whether it's a sports thing or a video game thing, or I read an article about something and they're like, "Yeah, this huge online controversy." And I'm like, "I got no idea. I got no idea."
Well, the reason why is in the word online
Exactly.
controversy.
Obvious. It's
Yeah.
it's very obvious why, right? But it's been the first few times that it's been happening that it's like, oh, I saw somebody reference on a podcast like, oh yeah, the discourse about this has been exhausting. I'm like, I don't know what the discourse is. And I'm like, hallelujah, dude.
Mhm. You know what? I felt because I'll be honest, because I am still on Twitter. I'm still posting every now and then. I have even slowed down my presence slash consumption of Twitter in the last like month or two. Not with any intention, for you know, for something that's just naturally happening, which we'll probably get into in a little bit here. But really, on Blue Sky is really where I notice it because
Mm,
I came up on here some of our first episodes, or maybe not first, but couple episodes ago, maybe like 5 or 6 episodes ago, I was all about, Blue Sky is going to be the new place. It's the new Twitter. I'm leaving Twitter behind. Fuck everything. I'm not doing it. Blah, blah, blah. And now we're at current day, and I'll log back onto Blue Sky for the first time in like 5 days. And everyone's like, can't believe this shit happened. And they have their own separate
oh my
string of
God. That
discourse.
sounds
And I'm like,
exhausting.
it's exhausting, but then like the only time that I actually like went to go find out what happened is because I saw someone that I recognized apologizing for something, and I'm like,
Mm.
"Oh fuck, what did
Oh,
they do?"
what
And then
went
I looked it
down?
up and I was like, "Oh, they did exactly what I saw them doing and what I thought was already weird. Now everyone's just saying it out in the open now."
Mm,
And so, yeah, keeping up with all the internet drama can be exhausting. Now as someone who still, partakes every now and then, it can be fun to be like, oh, this thing's happening. And then there's just like that
for
little
sure.
0.06% of dopamine in your brain because you're like, oh man, shit's popping off, and I can crack my joke about it, or I can, just sit here and watch things and observe. Like everyone likes to see a train wreck if they're not on the train,
100%.
basically.
100%.
Yeah. And
And this is,
so, yeah, it's that type of sensation.
yeah. And just to preface, right? Like, I'm not,
Mhm.
absolutely not trying to pass judgment on like social media and people who are on social media and
I am no, I'm not
like the thing
either.
is, this is from a personal standpoint, right? Like it was a personal decision from a personal standpoint of, you know what, like I haven't been enjoying this for a long time. I think this has been a subtractive in my life, not like an additive, right? Like I think
Mhm.
it takes away more than it gives, right? For me at the time. And
Yes.
it
Yes.
was something that I was unconsciously and then consciously thinking about for a long time. And I'm finally doing it, right? And I'm enjoying the experience. Now, there are some, and you just mentioned it, right? There's some scientific validity to the fact that like social media might not be the best thing for the brain as a whole, right? Like, there's even been research that like connects the dopamine hits that you get from social media to like slot machines. And like it does
Mm-hmm.
essentially the same thing to your brain, which is fucking crazy. But
Absolutely.
it's listen, I lived on social media for years and years and years and years. I get it. It's like I understand. I'm on another side now, right? The other one that happened that I was like, this is crazy that this is where I'm at right now. Some article that I was reading, I don't remember what it was. It was a couple weeks ago. Referenced a meme, and I didn't know what the meme was.
Oh no, that's crazy. Like,
I
not
didn't
not you've
know.
gone too far. It's just the concept of not understanding a meme.
Yes, I didn't
That's such a
understand the
oh
meme, Emmett. I was like, I haven't seen that one. I don't know what that's about. And
oh.
I was like, whoa, whoa. I don't know a meme.
Do you remember what the meme was?
I don't. I fucking wish I do. I should have screenshot it because that's like a monumental
Oh,
moment in my life. That's the first
that's
meme
incredible.
that I didn't know.
Well, you know what? I've always understood that like the internet moves fast. You know, one thing that's popular today can get milkshake ducked before the end of the week. So, like, things move fast and
Totally.
memes develop very quickly as well. I didn't realize how like in an article that's like completely removed from like social media interactions can have references to things that are completely unknown by people who are checked out.
Yeah.
Like that is just and
It's
then that's
wild,
like
right? It's
fine. It
wild
is wild.
because it's been such a part of my life for so long to be in the know, right? To like just be online and know what people are talking about, know what the stuff is. And I just don't anymore. I don't.
Mhm.
And it's crazy. And it happened with it. There was a thing with a Yankee game that there was like a bench clearing brawl during a game, right? And
Oh, geez.
it,
Huh.
it happens in baseball more than you think, and like by brawl, it's just like a bunch of dudes standing around, and they don't really do much. Every now and then, a real fight breaks out, but not really all the time.
It's a brawl, two guys just
They
standing.
just kind of just stare at each other, and every like what a baseball brawl is a bunch of people going whoa, 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 man, whoa, whoa, but nobody's
Doing the
actually fighting.
All right, I'm gonna make a reference to a meme that you definitely don't know about, but you're aware of the controversy that happened with Jonathan Majors, yes?
I am aware.
Okay. So all that's going on. So he's been out of the public eye. For some reason, a video earlier this week popped up of him breaking up a fight between two high school students.
What
And
the
he has
fuck?
and he has on that little beret of like
Oh
Negro
my
League pictures.
god! What the
And
hell?
so he's doing like this, like the dramatic, you guys stay back. Like
Nice,
and everyone's taking that picture and literally cropping it into like Jackie Robinson picture.
sick. That's great.
So I imagine that from that scenario you just
Well,
described.
essentially, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. And there was a moment where like a player tripped, like coming up the dugout, and like he rolled and kept going. And I was watching the broadcast, and that was like a very quick flash of the pan. And 2 or 3 days later, because I listened to a Yankees podcast where they like recap every series or whatever, they start
Yeah.
talking about how like, oh yeah, like when Canely tripped on the steps, all the memes and all the blah blah blah, and everybody's talking about it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was like a thing online on Yankee Twitter. Makes sense that it is, but I just didn't know. So
Yeah.
the one thing, the one takeaway, other than like, wow, holy shit, I'm really out of it, is I'm not missing out as much as I thought. Because what I was
Mhm.
scared of is that I was going to miss out on important stuff, right? Stuff that I cared about, stuff that I would have wanted to know, like cool video games that I wanted to play, right? Like social media was a huge reason of like me finding X games, right? Like whatever game, oh, I didn't know about this game. Now I'm playing it. Wow, I love this game. I'm so glad I found it. Like that was a big thing for me, and I was scared to lose that. And I have found that I don't lose it. I haven't lost it. I just don't hear about it when everybody else does, but I still hear about it eventually. I'll still find
Mhm.
out, right? There was Sea of Stars, that game, right? That game looks super cool. I didn't really know
Yep.
anything about it prior to me exiting social media. That's a game that I would have been scared to not find out about, right? Like that's a game that I'm like, how would I see this game, right? It's not it's an indie game, right? How would I find out? I still found out about it
Exactly.
and I still know about it. And it's not like, oh, Sea of Stars is my favorite game ever. Sea of Stars is just kind of an example of I'm still in the loop of the stuff that I care about. And that's the biggest takeaway that I've had of being offline. I mean, I'm still on YouTube and I obviously not offline fully, not off the grid, but not being on a social media platform.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
you know what, the stuff I really care about, I'm still getting. And that's good news for me.
And honestly, that's the type of thing where I get nervous about that too when I think about like
It's scary,
because
dude.
yeah, it's scary. Might for me, scary feels like a strong word to put, but it is a little bit nerve wracking. It's one
Nerve
of those
wracking is a
things where
better term. I agree.
it where I feel like a great example because yes, news could pop off. If I miss out on like, oh man, like if I wasn't on Twitter the day that Queen Elizabeth died, I would have missed so much good humor. If I wasn't there for the I don't know if you remember this one. This might be just my side of Twitter, and you'll understand what I mean in a second when I say this. Yahoo Finance made a typo one time when they were talking
I
about
know exactly what you're talking
you know
about.
exactly what I'm talking about.
That was so funny.
Oh my god. If I wasn't on Twitter on that day,
Oh my
I feel
god.
like I would have missed out.
Oh my
Those are the
god.
types of things. That's one of the things that I'm like, if I leave Twitter or if I leave social media overall,
Yeah.
that's the type of stuff that I feel like I would kind of miss if I did. I would feel bad if I missed it. The other thing, in a purely selfish way, my Wario 64s, my
Dude.
Knobles now since Nebellion's gone, the cheap ass gamer Twitter. God forbid something happens like that one night where all of the discount codes stacked at Target and everyone's buying flat screen TVs for $100.
Yeah,
Like if I miss
that's
that,
true.
I'm gonna feel like, damn, I should have been on Twitter. But in the case of those things, you know, Wario has his own Discord, Knoble has his own Discord, Cheap Ass Gamer has their own Discord. I set notifications to those tweets. Yep, there it is. There it is. Oh
It's
Lord.
so funny. Oh my
Oh my
god.
God.
The
Yeah.
fact that the B and the N are right next to each other on the keyboard is
Ah,
trouble sometimes. Oh
the
my
people
god.
always say I feel bad for that social media intern. Back then, in like 2006 or
Oh
whenever
my
that
god.
was, it might have actually been an intern.
Yeah, that
Now these
probably
people are
was
too
an
important.
intern. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude. It's the
Ah,
funniest tweet I've
talk
ever.
about a bigger navy. But yeah, Negro Solstice as well was the funniest shit in the fucking world.
Oh, that
Oh
was a
my god.
really good one. I remember that one. That one was
Oh,
hilarious.
everyone. For those who don't know, all right, let me just explain the Yahoo Finance thing, and then I'm gonna explain the Solstice
Only
thing
you can
because there's some
explain it
people
in this
only I
podcast.
can explain at least one of those only I can explain.
Mm-hmm.
Yahoo Finance was making a very, unoffensive, uncrazy tweet. They were talking about how the US is trying to get a bigger navy. They accidentally typed N instead of B. So all the black Twitter was like, "Oh, this is me dodging the draft." It was so funny. It was just everyone being
It
like,
was
"Oh,
so
this is me
good.
on the ship. This is me and Snoop Dogg on the ship in the Navy." It was so great. So that's one event that was really good. And then Negro Solstice was great because there's this one, I don't know, crazy like uh one of those people who's like, "Oh man, our spirits are in the stars. If you just drink this supplement, it'll work." Like that type of
Yeah.
person. A black woman was replying with that type of energy, and everyone saw that tweet, and she was saying something along the lines of like, "Oh, you'll see on August 30th this year, we'll all get our powers that the black folks have been owed for generations." And everyone saw that and just quote tweeted and was like,
So
"Oh,
good.
here's what my power is gonna be."
That one was extremely funny. That was peak internet.
My God, it was incredible. And then when that date came, you saw a bunch of quote tweets being like, "What the fuck's happening?" And then their furniture's floating.
Hilarious. Amazing.
Oh, it was so good. So it's those moments where I'm like, oh fuck, that would be.
Another day
I
that
feel
was
like I'd want to
really
miss.
good, and I think it's
Mm-hmm.
the last one, is the day that everybody for some reason was convinced that that was the last day of Twitter. and everybody was just saying that
Yes!
was a really good day, man. That was a very good
Oh,
day.
that was incredible. I forgot what happened. Something had happened. I think he had, I don't know, said the block button's getting removed or
Yeah,
something. Everyone was
something
jumping
happened.
ship. That was an incredible day. It's moments like that where I'm like, man, it's really good being on this app. There's an actual when it feels like there's a sense of community for the entire app, not just certain circles, but
Mhm.
when everyone's on the same page, that's when it feels like, man, this app has some really good utility. And even with the certain circles, I talk about all these Black Twitter events. It's really cool to be like, hey, all my people are on here and we're all on the same page. Like that's a really nice
For
feeling.
sure.
And then same thing for Game Awards is happening. We're all talking about Game Awards. State of Play's happening. We're all talking about that. The community is something that's really nice. But another thing that I've been realizing, this is personal to me. I don't know if this applies to you as much, but a lot of the reasons that, not that I'm on Twitter, but a lot of the reasons that I tweet is because I have a thought and I just want to get it out.
Yeah.
I just want to shoot my thought out, whether it be a joke, whether it be a take on something, whether it be an observation, whatever. I just want to get it out.
Dude,
I,
it
yeah.
still happens to me. I still have that instinct. It happened to me
Mm-hmm.
fucking when was it? Was it yes? Oh, it was when I found out about Thousand Year Door. I thought about tweeting out how excited I was about Thousand Year Door. I'm like, wait,
Mm-hmm. I
I
don't need to.
I don't I'm not there. I don't need to. And it's been one of the weirdest parts has been exactly that. Having a thought and just being like, okay, I had the thought. Not
Mm-hmm.
doing anything with it. It's weird, but that's kind of what I've been going through, I guess.
You know what? My equivalent of that is I'll still have the thought. Instead of me being like, oh, I should tweet this out, it's next time I see Gabby, we'll talk about that.
Oh, great. Love that.
Which is, I don't know if that's healthy or
Why be
not.
on
I
Twitter
don't
when
know.
your significant other can be your own personal shit post, man?
Dude, let me tell you the amount of like, I'll have a joke and because often, look, I'm very respectful. I believe in, everyone's equal. We should treat everybody with respect, all that stuff. But at the same time, I have the disease of finding the humor in almost anything.
Yeah, same.
And so when that happens, I have long ago stopped putting just any type of joke on Twitter because I know, like, all right, sometimes I'll make a joke and I know it's on the borderline, but I'm like, I'm not crossing it, right? And then I'll find out 10 minutes after tweeting it, oh no, I crossed the line. All right, let me back off of that.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so I don't do that on Twitter. Haven't done that in a very long time. But now if I have like a funny idea or a thought, I'll tell my girlfriend. And if she laughs, that's all I need. I
Oh,
don't need to
beautiful.
be like,
I got what I
yeah,
needed.
yeah, she doesn't need to be the filter and then okay, now I can tweet this. No, it's like, did I get a laugh out of her? My soul is filled. I don't need to get likes and retweets on anything.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I've been realizing, and that's the thing that has made me consider how much do I need to be on Twitter? Because I get annoyed where yeah, they killed TweetDeck. TweetDeck is a paid feature now, so I haven't used that at all. So it's annoying to use Twitter on desktop, which is where I used to use it the most now.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where it gets a little annoying when when I look up and it's been, several minutes and I've just been scrolling. I'm like, I could be doing anything else. I could be watching a YouTube video from one of my 1,000 watch later lists. I could be watching a movie. I could be catching up on TV. I could be playing a game. Like, there's so many other things I could be doing with my time. So, and then just posting in general is something that I don't feel like I need to do so much because, I got someone to talk to with
Totally.
regularity.
Dude, and another one of the big it's weird, right? We use social media so much, right? And it becomes such a natural part of our lives that you remove that and you notice a lot of weird shit. Like I a thing that I always kind of struggled with, right? And has become more highlighted is I don't know if it's imposter syndrome is the right term because I
Hmm.
don't know. This is a very personal thing. I really don't know if you've ever experienced this. Do you ever feel like your thoughts and opinions? Do you ever? I guess I'll explain how I feel. Sometimes
Go ahead.
I used to
Yes.
feel like I didn't know what my opinions were. Right, like on
Mm.
anything. If and and I'm not saying like, do gay people have rights? That's a totally different thing, right? Like, that's not what I'm talking about.
I
I'm
know what my
talking
opinion on that is, but yes.
my my man. That is no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, the Florida got to him. No, I'm playing.
that Florida fucking guy, get him. No, I'm talking about like stupid, silly shit. Like, oh,
Yeah.
do I like this video game? Like, I've always struggled with a weird sort of self doubting of myself. Of like, do I really feel that way, or do I think that I feel that way? Right? And I think for me personally, and again, this is an extremely personal thing. I think for me personally, being on Twitter and seeing dozens of thoughts on everything muddled that further for me. And where I was like, oh, yeah, I agree with that. No, wait, I agree with that. No, wait, I agree with that. And kind of leeching off of a bunch of. So I didn't feel like I was a person with real thoughts. I just felt like I was just leeching other people's thoughts and opinions. And removing that has like forced me to do more thinking on my own, which sounds so dumb. But I think on my own. I look at a thing and I form an opinion, and that's my opinion on it. And it's fucking weird, man.
I'm not gonna lie, I've had this exact type of thought process just like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
it's
a
just a
thing.
little bit different. Actually, I might have had it around the same age that you are right now, since we got the age gap a little bit. It's one of those things where the thing that got me out of it was once I developed the vocabulary to really talk about my feelings on things, because that was a mixture of, because I was also like you, where, 2010, 2011, 2013, around like those last 2 years of high school leading on to like first couple years of college, I would see something and then I would define what I feel based off of how other people feel. Or it wouldn't necessarily even be I'm copying their exact opinion. It would be I'm informing what my opinion is based off of bits and pieces of other people.
100%.
And so I used to do that for a very long time, but I think because I went into writing, because because when I was in school, I had to write how I felt about a lot of stuff. And at a certain point, I got exhausted with having to write how I feel about the exact same things all the time. That's what got a little nerve wracking, but I do appreciate that skill. And not just, hey, learning how to write and all that stuff, but also experiencing reading and listening to other writers. Like, the only way I feel like if I watch a movie or play a video game or something, and I feel very strongly about it, I know exactly how to put those thoughts out completely independently on my own, because I watch so much Noah Caldwell Gervais, because I watch so much Euro Thug 4000, so much, Jacob Geller, all these video essay people. That's really the reason why I like all their stuff, because yes, great writing and stuff, and great you know what? I'll use one of their writings to explain my point exactly. Noah Caldwell Gervais in his Dark Souls video, where he played the entire trilogy, made a 5-hour video about it. Near the end, he talked about how when you experience an imaginative work that is very potent and very influential, it gives you, because yes, Dark Souls is still high fantasy, but there's so many weird creatures and weird concepts of lore and stuff in those Dark Souls games that it gives you a wider glossary, a wider arrangement of words to use when you think about and when you experience other works of dark fiction. That's how I feel when I experience writing. It's like, okay, now I have the terms to think, I have the concepts to go with, and then I can, come to my own conclusions in my own head using these frameworks. But I got none of that from Twitter. Twitter and, Facebook and Instagram, all that stuff before, my Facebook got deleted and all that. That wasn't a place where I went to for that type of experience, for that type of critical thinking skill. It was always just, what's the quick thought? What's the quick hit? And I could give you a quick hit, but I couldn't talk about it for any length of time. Getting outside of that is really what helped develop it. And I think that's good for you. We just came to the same conclusion in different ways, where you had to be removed from it. I had to just experience something else separate from it without necessarily taking that other thing away.
And that's totally valid. I think for me, and it's probably a thing that a lot of people go through, right? That like that sense of finding yourself or whatever, and it's a being young thing. I think for me personally, Twitter made that so much worse, like so much worse, because I don't know, playing a game or watching a movie and seeing 100 different reactions of it, right? And being impressionable, because that's kind of what it is, right? Being impressionable, you kind of even change what you think. Like fucking what's the name of the Star Wars Episode 8? God damn it, Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is a movie that I want to wait years to watch again, because I remember I had an opinion when I first left that theater, and that opinion changed after being online. It changed, and it didn't change because I was like, oh, everybody feels this way about it, let me go and feel that way about it too. It legitimately changed. Like, it inceptioned my fucking brain.
Yeah, it poisoned it.
It poisoned it. And I felt differently about the movie. And I'm like, wow, man, I don't think that's healthy for me at all.
Yeah. See, by the time I got around to Star Wars, the thing is, the reputation preceded it. I knew that
Fair.
a lot of people hated it, but because of Twitter, I knew the type of people who hated it. And I knew the type of people who liked Rise of Skywalker as well. So I already had the factions in my head.
100%.
So like it also poisoned my opinion in the same way. But at the same time, not even knowing anything about the movies themselves, when I watched the movies, it made the alignment made sense, because I also fell in that alignment where I liked Last Jedi for these specific reasons, and I didn't like Rise of Skywalker for these specific reasons, and it aligned exactly to everybody else. But I feel like I came to that point on my own because I didn't watch any Star Wars when those conversations were going on. I had to catch up everything up until then in a very small window. So like, it's similar, but it's like it when you're experiencing art, it helps to just go to it with your own experiences.
It really does.
As your first, lens to view it through. Try not to go in there poisoned by any other thing, all that stuff. I think that's the best way to do it. I haven't done that every time myself, even though I'm talking like I have, but I think that's the best way to do it. And you're doing that yourself. And I think that's the best way to go about things.
For sure. No, I'm enjoying it, man. Listen, it's like 2 months compared to 12 years, fucking 13 years. How many years was I on Twitter? Something like that.
That's a good question.
Something
I can look that up right now.
I think I was in the 7th grade. I know that much. I was in the 7th grade.
God, 7th grade on Twitter. March 2011.
I think for me it was 20.
Ooh.
I think 2011 too. I think for me it's 2011. Yeah. Oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's your joined on March 2011.
I thought you were looking up your own. Oh yeah, so I was 13. Oh, no. I was 13 years old. Actually 12. About to turn 13.
Good Lord. I'm glad I didn't have the internet at
so
12.
That means my entire teenage years and basically half of my 20s I was on Twitter.
You know what? I was talking a lot of shit. I was like, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't have it when I was that." Yeah, I started March 2009.
No, fuck you, Emmett. Get off your high horse, asshole.
No, my horse is lower. I've been in the mud longer.
I've been down here, man. That's hilarious.
Good God.
Yeah, man. It's just weird. It's just interesting to suddenly not have a thing that I've had since 2011, man. Like it's wild, and it's crazy to see how it's restructuring my brain in lifetime. And especially now that I'm in a stage where I'm like doing a lot of learning, right? Because I'm in school and I'm enjoying learning things. And
learning's fun as shit.
Learning is awesome, dude. And I never really knew that. And learning is so fucking cool. And I'm learning stuff in school and I'm learning stuff outside of school. And I feel like that's just feeding my brain so much more yummy good stuff than what I had ever been feeding it before. And I'm stoked. And I didn't know. And I was nervous that I wasn't going to be stoked leaving social media, but here we are.
I think leaving social media helps if you have something else to fill it with.
Absolutely.
You can't. People are like, "Oh, it's just like any other thing." What is it? It's like Han in the Fast and Furious movies. he eats snacks all the time because he used to be a smoker. So yeah, snacks might not be the healthiest thing, but he's not smoking.
It's better.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're gonna quit social media of any type, it might be good to have another outlet. If you got to put your thoughts out into the ether all the time, maybe join a book club so you can talk about your thoughts on art somewhere that's more constructive and not to the whole planet at the same time. Or, if you need a community to talk to, maybe go outside in real life, get some friends, or hey, get yourself a girlfriend. That's what I did. Things like this will help. I think, because it always helps to have an alternative. And in your case, you're always looking for the rest of the world on the internet to tell you, hey, here's all the stuff that's out there. Here's what you can think and all this stuff. You're in school, so you're learning about all these concepts independently. You're learning about how to think for yourself independently. I think that's beautiful. So,
Totally.
yeah, social media is cool, but especially considering everything that's happening with the fact that Twitter isn't even Twitter right now, it's called X now.
Fucking
It's a
so
pretty good time
ridiculous.
to yeah, it's a pretty good time to divest yourself from that website.
It's interesting because I don't think I'm the only one whose Elon Musk's era of Twitter has like caused them to just reconsider their relationship with social media. I definitely don't
Mhm.
think I'm the only person, because that was definitely the catalyst for it, right? Like that's I had been feeling these feelings for a bit, and then the whole Elon stuff happened, and it kept happening, and I'm like, dude, you know what? I'm kind of done with it. And I think a lot of other people
Mhm.
have probably felt the same way. And if Elon Musk's biggest impact on the lives of people by buying Twitter was that a ton of people got off Twitter, I think that's a beautiful thing, man.
Indeed,
I think that's a
indeed.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. I'll say the only thing that is stopping me from just being like, you know what, I'm out of there for good in any way. The fact that if I claim to still be trying to, I did say I'm going back to school next year. I am, applying and all that stuff, and those things are already set in motion. If I'm still trying to follow that path of getting into entertainment writing and all that stuff, I would be served well to have some type of an internet
100%.
presence.
Yeah,
That
that's
absolutely makes sense.
that's the other thing for me. I'm in a very specific situation, right, where I moved on, and I'm not, and again, I really
Mhm.
am not looking down on any other people, but I thought it was the right thing for me. You have a much healthier relationship with social media than what I did, in my opinion, and you may need it. It may prove genuinely good and useful for you in the future, and even right now. Um, I also just made a big, gigantic life decision switch, and I'm no longer following a career in media and in video game media, right? I'm trying to be a
Mhm.
doctor, which is very far away from that, extremely far away from that. And
Mhm. Wait, Dr. Mario, I just put that
oh yeah,
together.
baby. Oh yeah, baby.
I knocked down the entire green screen that was behind me. That's
I
incredible.
if when I have my doctor scrubs, I'm going to put a Dr. Mario pill on it. 100
I
fucking
love it.
percent, dude. A
I
hundred
love it.
percent. Yes.
Mm, that's the best part of this episode. I'm so happy.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And to wrap it up, one of the things that like took me for a lot of like sort of mental energy to gripe with and be okay with and grapple with, I should say, is feeling like I maybe messed up something that I had and dropped something that like maybe I was getting somewhere and I lost my opportunity now, right? Like when I think back of like, as somebody whose original dream was to work for Kind of Funny, right? I would stream Call of Duty with Nick Scarpino every night for a very long time, right? That's like a
Yeah,
big
months.
achievement. That was a huge achievement. I was on a Kind of Funny stream, and I played FIFA
Yeah,
with
you were.
Bless and Janet, right? And I have personal contacts to a lot of people at Kind of Funny, right? And for a long time, I was very apprehensive to throw that all away, right? To be like, well, I'm here, so I need to keep pushing. And I restructured my relationship with what I thought my dreams were, and I had to have a lot of self reflection, and I went to therapy for a very long time, and I still go to therapy, cool. Therapy's sick. Um,
Indeed.
and yeah, like I just had
Therapy's
to
nasty.
the sickest, nastiest thing, man. I tell you what.
Love it.
And I just had to be okay with choosing a different path and moving on. And who's to say, right? Like there are many doctor content creators out there. That's a thing. You can do that. It's
Yeah.
all good. Who knows?
Dr.
But
Disrespect.
Dr.
Bad example.
Absolutely, yeah. He does exams in public bathrooms. And I just had to be okay with moving on to a degree, right? And I think
Yes.
once social media didn't become a thing I needed to be on because my career prospects relied on it, I think that was one of the first dominoes that kept tumbling it. And then Elon Musk came over with like a leaf blower to all the dominoes, essentially.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I feel you there. I feel you there. So, we'll see. You and me both. We're still learning.
100%.
That's the beautiful thing about life. If you're still learning, then you're doing okay. If you have to leave yourself open to learn new things,
Absolutely.
and when you're getting so reinforced about what you already believe on a site like Twitter, you're not necessarily open for as much learning as you can be. So, I'll
Mhm.
leave myself open in this journey. You'll leave yourself open, and we'll talk about it over a couple spoons
Mhm.
every other week.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it too. I didn't fully close the door because we have Spoonful, and Spoonful is not just a way for me to have some creative outlet, right? And to have some degree of online presence, right? Even though
Yeah.
but I also, it's a way for me to talk about the stuff that I love. And
Hmm.
I don't need Twitter for that. Because if I play this game and I think it's cool, I'll come on here and I'll talk to you. And you're one of my best friends. And I like talking to you. So it's
Kiddo,
beautiful. It's a
kiddo.
beautiful thing.
Indeed, indeed. It was a really nice talk.
Ah, look at that.
I really like this one. It's a good episode.
This one is a good one. You know, it gets real when we get a little silly and then we get very heartfelt. Those are the good
Yeah.
Spoonful ones.
Yeah. I hope this green screen rolls back into its tube.
I love the fact that I'm like, here's some deep psychological stuff about me, and then there's a guy with a barrel in the background going, "Ah, that's amazing, that's incredible."
His stagger meter's on 0. I'm telling you that right
Oh,
now.
you can tell. That man is staggered.
Yeah, for sure. Down the stairs.
Well, people at home, thank you so much for listening and or watching. Let us know in the comments how you feel about social media. I'm not on social media, so the comments is the only place that I can see it. Emmett loves you very much. I love you just as much. I got you in a cliffhanger there. We'll
This is
see
true.
you all next time. Peace out.